Yes. What's going on, guys? My name is Eddie Tranzcendent, and you are now tuned in to the Tranzcendent Outlook podcast. Specifically, this is the Lion Soundtrack. The Lion Soundtrack is a podcast where I get to interview great Latinos and Latinas from the greater Fairfield area and Connecticut as a whole, who are doing great things, right? The idea being that, you know, there are people who are doing great things, and I want to play a part and become that avenue to help them get their voice heard, right? We've been doing it for a long time, and we're excited for today's interview. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get Joe Rodriguez in here, because this is the guy right here, man. Joe, what's going on, brother? Hold on, let's do this. Okay, there we go. What's going on, brother?
How are you? Good evening, buenas noche.
Listen, I am excited to have you here. Yeah, I know you and I have been talking about this for a little while. Obviously schedules are crazy. Your schedule is crazy. If you're not following Joe already, follow him. It's a journey just following him. It's almost like, pero ven acá, he was just here, pero he's over there. I mean, he's like all over the place. Amazing guy. By the way, this is my introduction. Amazing guy, great community guy, great father. I mean, the love for his daughter just pours out through everything he does. And somebody who's just really, really, really attached to the community, specifically the Puerto Rican community, but just as a whole, he's really in there doing the work, and it brings me great pleasure to have him join us here. So what's going on, brother?
It's good to see you, man. It's a long time coming, but I'm glad we were able to make tonight work. And Mira, shout out to you too, bro. You your podcast continues to grow. The work you do in the Fairfield County continues to grow. So much respect and love back at you.
No, listen, I honestly, man, it's for people like you that I do this, man. If I could get one more person to follow you, one more person to help out, one more person to understand how much you love your community, I think that's super key. But before we get any further, as I said, this is not our first time. This is our second time on, and I told you I was gonna bring something up, and so I got a picture here, and it's not really a great picture in terms of like the angle or whatever. But this is the beginnings of the podcast when I used to do it in person. And this is us, brother. Mira, bang, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that's you. You know
that day.
Man, that was a great day. That was at the studio on over there in Hanover.
What year was that?
That was August of 2018.
Okay, so I was like roughly 1 year in at the senator's office in my new role.
Yes, yeah. And that's where I met you. I mean, you were welcoming, such a good dude, and I had to bring you in. Gina is there. My niece is there. She's now in Southern, about to start her final year of her nursing program. Yeah, she's doing great things as well. So I mean, just good things, man. And so I'm super excited to have you back. But anyways, enough about me. Enough about all that. What's going on, man?
I grew some hair since that last one.
I see you, man. But you're always dressed to impress, man. That never fails. I never see, bro. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but I never see you sloppy. Tu siempre estás bien, like, I mean, you're always doing your thing.
I try, man. I try, but when we're at the festivals, during the summer, I do try to dress low key and just lay back. So
yeah. No, definitely.
I do love some chancletas.
For real. Listen, but listen, I mean, you have a lot going on in the community. You're currently the president of the Puerto Rican Festival of New Haven, correct?
Yes.
And you also serve as the second vice president. Second vice president or second president?
Yeah, second vice president of the National Puerto Rican Agenda.
Yeah, and that's something that happened recently, right? That you haven't been seated there for too long, have you?
Yeah, so the National Agenda was created a few years ago during the economic crisis that occurred in Puerto Rico. It was a meeting that occurred in New York. It was an opportunity for Boricuas from across the country to come together, elected leaders, appointed leaders, nonprofit leaders, just an opportunity for us to come together and say, we need to do something for the issues that are impacting Puerto Rico. So over 100 people showed up in New York during the economic crisis. So the coalition's been around. As with a lot of different things, we tend to be reactive, right, to different issues. So, the coalition, the agenda sort of went out strong. In the last several years, it's been quiet. But we decided that we got to keep this energy going. So they held a convention in Philadelphia back in March, where
Okay.
about 150 Boricuas from over 6, 7 states showed up and was like, "No, we're here. Like, we need to do this. There's the issues impacting Puerto Rico still exists. The issue impacting our community still exists." So we
Mhm.
gathered in Philadelphia. I was asked to run for second vice president, and I won. I think it was like 187 to 36.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. And now, with everything that you have going on, and obviously your regular work, and the stuff with the PRU, with the Puerto Rican Festival of New Haven. um why take on more, right? Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, listen, I'm a firm believer in showing up when it matters.
Got it.
And as I said, Puerto Rico, is still, dealing with a lot of, deep issues, economic issues, political corruption issues,
Mhm.
deep issues that we need folks that, that care, that are willing to step up and to mobilize and organize. And I just felt, I was, I found myself in a position where, working for a US senator, promoting cultural preservation through festivals, working with the National Puerto Rican Agenda by advocating for Puerto Rico. I come at this with a unique perspective or a unique lens. So the opportunity was there, and
Yeah.
I said, let's do it. Let's do it.
Now, the Puerto Rican agenda is there. Um, what's the relationship with Puerto Rico, specifically? Like, is there kind of like an interlock there with Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican agenda, or no?
So yes and no. The
Okay.
Again, the agenda, it was created during the economic crisis because
Yeah.
Boricuas within the states felt that we had to lift our voice and advocate for Puerto Rico,
Okay.
since the island itself does not have a voting member of Congress. They do not have representation in Washington. So we said, as Boricuas here in the states, as leaders, nonprofit, elected or otherwise, we have to come together in the diaspora. And how can we leverage our relationship with our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico and advocate for them?
Yes.
Because in many cases, Puerto Rico's voiceless when it comes to having voting representation in Washington. So there's a relationship in the sense of, yes, we're advocating for issues in Puerto Rico, but we're also advocating for issues throughout the country that impact Puerto Rico. Cultural preservation, bilingual education, housing, jobs, economic, you name it. So there's a wide array of issues that we're advocating for at a national level as
Yes.
the diaspora.
Yes. And how had that experience been for you?
Um, it's been an eye opener.
Yes.
It's been an eye opener. I've learned that a lot of the issues that we're advocating for now in 2024 are the same issues we were advocating in 2001 or in 95 or 87, right? A lot of these issues that impact Puerto Rico are systemic. So um, we need to do more to be a proactive society, not a reactive society. We can't just gather and mobilize for Puerto Rico after a natural disaster.
Yeah.
It's great that we come together the way we do as a community. I saw firsthand what we as Puerto Ricans can do to
Mhm.
advocate and to assist our people in Puerto Rico. But we have to be a proactive community, from Medicaid reimbursement to the political status of Puerto Rico to natural, to alternative energy. Like there's so many issues that we can discuss here all night that
Yeah.
impact Puerto Rico. It's up to us to do it. So that's a part of the agenda. It's
Yeah.
about keeping Puerto Rico front and center. Right. It's about keeping them front and center. And that's what the agenda stands for: mobilizing, educating our community, and advocating for our island.
Listen, and do you feel that, and you know what? I'm never gonna say do you feel, because I feel like it is true. But let me rephrase. Tell me a little bit about how serving in the Puerto Rican agenda and everything you've seen, the eye opening that you've had, and everything you've learned since becoming involved. How has that affected your work on a local level in terms of your work with the Puerto Rican Festival of New
Mhm.
Haven and any other work that you're doing just here in the area?
So it's definitely intertwined.
Okay.
As I shared with my colleagues and many different parades and festivals, we have a responsibility not only to celebrate our culture, but to
Hmm.
educate our culture.
Yes, love
We
that.
can't educate our people, our community, if we ourselves are not willing to engage in the conversations that are happening and to further, develop, a platform or develop, issues that we know about, right? A lot of us, there's issues that, listen, I'll be real with you. There's issues that I am now advocating for Puerto Rico that 5 years ago I had no idea was an issue.
Yeah.
Um, but that's a part of the learning process, about learning more and advocating. So it's certainly intertwined. I think festivals and parades can be used as vehicles to really teach our community. And I'm a firm believer, in New Haven alone, when we have our Puerto Rican festival, we have voter education table. We have a health and wellness table. We have a table where you could, see different things, little different cosas at the table about the culture. I
Mhm.
really do believe and using that platform to educate our community. I'll share a quick story.
Sure.
After Hurricane Maria, all the parades and festivals got together because we were in the midst of organizing our festival, right, the summer after Hurricane Maria. And we all got together and we all looked at each other, and I remember making the comment to a few of my friends and colleagues and said, listen, shame on us if we don't use this platform, right? 40,000 in Hartford, 20,000 in New Haven, another 20 at the Bridgeport Puerto Rican Day Parade. Shame on us if we don't use this platform to advocate and to mobilize for Puerto Rico. We can,
Mhm.
go to a parade and festival and wave our flag all we want. And I'll be there right alongside my brothers and sisters, waving our flag, dancing salsa. But we have a responsibility to lift our community, especially during Hurricane Maria. So we used a unifying message that year, which was United for Puerto Rico. And we all went on our tarimas, we all went on our stages from Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, and we're all spitting out the same message. We were
Yes.
spitting out the same message that we need you to text this number to fight for Puerto Rico. And that to me is how you effectively use a community event. We're gathering to have a good time, to come together, but we're
Yes.
also spitting some knowledge.
No, listen, I love it. I remember around that time, I was involved with the Puerto Rican Parade of Fairfield County. I remember all of this, and I agree with everything that you're saying. I think it's so important. Recently, I saw some pictures. I mean, just great pictures and great information about the pageant, right? The pageant going on over there in New Haven, right?
Yeah, yeah,
With the kids and everything. And so, before we get into the actual pageantry, which we kind of know what it is, talk to us a little bit about the education side of that, right? What are you guys doing in terms of having an education in there? Because I think that with these kids, right, a lot of these kids being born here and not really knowing too much about the culture in Puerto Rico,
yeah.
what are you guys doing to kind of intertwine, not just pageantry and kind of being beautiful, but also having a cultural part into the whole system of how you do it.
Great question. So we recently relaunched the Miss Puerto Rico cultural pageant last year.
Okay.
After
Okay.
I want to say 9 years of being
Oh.
absent. So
Okay.
remember, so the Puerto Rican Festival in New Haven has a deep, long history in our city. We have festivals dating back as early as the 80s. Back in 2009, the committee dissolved, and then we didn't have anything from '09 to 2016. That's
Mm,
where, Edwin Martinez, Jonathan Rivera, myself, and a few others, we gathered. And in 2016, with 15 other leaders, we said, no, we need to do this. And
yes.
that's when we relaunched the Puerto Rican Festival in 2016.
Okay.
Fast forward last year, we had the Miss Puerto Rico pageant, where for the first time again in over 8, 9 years, we had over 14 girls compete, young ladies, leaders
Mhm.
compete. This year in particular, I think we had about 13 young ladies compete for Miss Puerto Rico. But as you pointed out, it's not just a competition to be crowned. They are involved in over a month and a half of classes, weekly classes where they're learning about Puerto Rico this year in particular, thanks to a former educator, Maritza Rosa. She's a 30-year plus educator in New Haven. She volunteered her time with Danielle Bonet, who's another educator, and both educators, Boricuas, took time on their own schedules once a week for 2 hours to educate our young ladies on Puerto Rico. Our ladies had homework about their pueblo, their town. We're talking about young ladies with
Yes.
second, third generation, some who have never been to Puerto Rico. They're now doing homework about their town, their pueblo. So it was amazing to share that knowledge. As I told a lot of young ladies when I first met them, some of us been to Puerto Rico, some of us haven't. Some of us know each other, some of us don't. Some of us live on
Hmm.
the east side, some of us on the west side. But what runs inside of us, that Taino, that
Hmm.
Spaniard, that African blood, it's
Yeah.
in me and it's in you. So we are all connected somehow. So we're not strangers. And they did an amazing job. Shout out to our pageant directors, Anika and Samadi, who lead this initiative. But it was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience.
And staying on track with that, Joe, again, I was involved with the Puerto Rican Parade of Fairfield County. I was very heavily involved with the pageant when I was there. And the struggle was always getting some little boys to join us, right? It's so tough. I mean, they're out there, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But the desire to be involved in such and such a program really isn't there. And a lot of times, if I'm being honest, a lot of times it was forced by mom for the boys to kind of be there, right? And so, what have you guys, within your meetings, if you could tell us, what have you guys talked about, to that you can do to try to get, some more boys to join?
Absolutely. So recognizing that void,
Hmm.
we were looking at different ways to engage the young men in our community. So in recent years, we've been doing a lot of work partnering with the City Angels Baseball League in New
Mm.
Haven. It's not just a baseball league; they have a leadership component. They volunteer. So a lot of the young men who are involved in these baseball academies have been working with us, volunteering at different Puerto Rican festival events. They've been partnering with us to do events. We've been at their events and we had, Puerto Rican leaders speak to some of the young people. We
Okay.
honor them at our gala. They volunteer at our festivals. We go to their game openers. So we're really trying to explore other ways where we
Yeah.
can engage all young people in our community. But because let's be real, we got some young ladies that don't necessarily gravitate to the cultural pageant stuff, but
Hmm.
they want to volunteer or they need to be, spoken to, or they need a role model. So we are exploring ways on how we can engage all our young people in New Haven. And I just want to give a shout out to my PRU board because our festival board, our members can be seen crisscrossing New Haven, visiting schools for career days, speaking to young people. We're not just about preserving our culture. We're out there actively engaging a community service.
Yes.
I was at a career day just the other day.
Hmm.
Jonathan Rivera, Eddie Melendez, so many of us are in our school system, educating our people on who we are and what we stand for.
No, I love it, and a lot of what has come up in the last 15 minutes of us talking what I've heard from you has been a lot of such and such is giving their time, and such and such is giving their, and such and such, and all these different people who are giving their time, and so it's obvious that volunteering is so important, to be able to accomplish the mission of your organization and a lot of the other Puerto Rican organizations in Connecticut, right? And so, talk to us a little bit about the importance of volunteering, and what do you look for when you're inviting volunteers to come help your organization?
Yeah, listen, I think I spoke to a group of college students a few weeks ago, and I said the following. There's so many issues that are of importance in our community. But I think one of the many issues um, is the importance of service, of
Hmm.
giving back in a society in 2024 that where we are so divided, where we've lost civility in our debates, where it's me versus you.
Hmm.
conservative versus progressive, Dem versus Republican. It's unfortunate where we find ourselves in today's society. So what I've encouraged people to do um, is follow your own truth, right? There's always truth behind facts. This is why I talked about the importance of the National Puerto Rican Agenda and we as
Yeah.
leaders educating ourselves on what are the issues impacting Puerto Rico. I can't properly educate our young people. I can't properly educate our candidates from Miss Puerto Rico about our culture and about who we are, about volunteerism, if I don't know what I'm talking about or if I'm not about it. So be about it, right? So again, one of the greatest challenges now is serving our community. And I think we could do so much in the space that I occupy, that my colleagues occupy, which is art and culture.
Hmm.
Art and culture is universal. Music is universal. Unfortunately, we don't see people flocking to the ballot box. We don't see people flocking to testify at a hearing. But we
Hmm.
do see people flocking is the parades and the festivals. So how can we use that platform, which is universal,
Hmm.
where people are gravitating towards, right?
Yeah.
How can we use that as a way to sort of capture them
Hmm.
and educate them? So that's why we've been really focusing on social change through the arts, because
Got it.
again, that's universal.
No, listen, I love it. As Alina said, facts, and I agree with Alina. Shout out to Alina, facts. And shout out to everybody who's watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you're watching, please make sure you share this amazing conversation I'm having with Joe. No, I think it's so important. I think that's important, and I also think self awareness is important. I think knowing who you are, understanding what really makes you move, or really gets you going. I think it's important because I think that what happens a lot is that volunteers, will get burnt out because they're not doing what they like to do. So I think that if you go up to Joe and say, "Hey, Joe, listen, I'm Eddie. I love to do X, Y, Z. Is there anywhere in your organization where I can do what I love to do?" And once Joe says yes, then I'm able to do what I love to do within that organization. And now that volunteering becomes a fun thing. It's not something where I'm like, oh man, I gotta go back to Joe and do more work. And so I think that just kind of like knowing who you are and understanding, what really makes you move, I think is so important when it comes to volunteering.
Yeah, no, and listen, like you said, you have to be. It's like with anything, with a career, with a job, right? You have to enjoy what you're doing. So, and listen, there's no opportunity right now is endless.
Yeah.
Opportunity. There's in New Haven alone, we have over 100 nonprofits. In the state of Connecticut, we have over 7 Puerto Rican parades and festivals. So, there's no shortage of opportunity when it comes to volunteering at any level, be it at a religious institution, a nonprofit, after
Yep.
school programming, you name it. There's opportunity. The opportunity is there. You just have to want to do it.
So seven. I think you said seven organizations doing parades and/or festivals. Puerto Rican here in Connecticut, and a lot of you guys are getting ready to head out to Puerto Rico pretty soon for some type of a parade. And talk to me about this because first of all, let me before you say anything, let me just say that I'm a little upset. I wish I would have known. I really jumped on board and I would have been out there. It's all good. I watched from over here. But to tell us a little bit about
There's still time, bro. The parade
that.
the parade's May 18th. So but yeah, so we are excited. Thanks to Latin Financial and Sonia, who's a sponsor, as well as our ambassadors and the Junta Boricua initiative. So Junta Boricua is one of the largest tourism initiatives in Puerto Rico that is geared at our people, Boricuas.
Mhm,
It's geared at the diaspora. It's an initiative in part with GFR Media and El Nuevo Dia, the island's
mhm,
largest newspaper. And again, they are focusing on the diaspora. How can we get the broader Puerto Rican community through parades and festivals to come to Puerto Rico to inject finances and support and funding into our economy. So that's what the at its root, that's what it is. It's a tourism initiative geared at our people, right? There's over,
okay.
so that's why we're going. So I think over 11 states will be represented.
Love
We have
it.
over
Love it.
200 people from Connecticut saying presente. We got the Hartford Puerto Rican Day Parade, the Waterbury Parade, Fairfield County Parade, the New Haven Festival. Literally over 200 people from the state of Connecticut will be
Let's
in
go.
Puerto Rico on two floats sponsored by Latin Financial. We're having a Connecticut reception in San Juan,
Woo!
sponsored by the Latino Way.
Let's go.
And let me just say this because, again, it's not just about celebrating, it's
Of
about
course.
giving back, it's about community
Yes.
service. My brothers and sisters from CICD in Hartford will be
Yes.
arriving a week early and will be volunteering at schools on the southern part of the island, giving back and doing some work through their initiative. And then we'll be also donating to four nonprofits that are still, rebuilding after Hurricane Fiona and some of the earthquakes. So we'll be actually cutting some checks and donating to four organizations when we go to Puerto Rico. So we're going to have fun, we're going to celebrate, but we're also doing some community service and giving back.
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. Love it. I didn't know any of this, so I'm super excited to find out about this. I've been seeing everybody talking about it. I'm like, what is going on? And people are going to Puerto Rico. There's some new dates opening up in terms of being able to fly. I think like May 8th or May 18th or
Yeah,
something. And I'm
it's
like,
funny because everyone keeps asking, pero coño, like it's the first Puerto Rican parade on the island. Like, everyone's scratching their head when they say
yeah,
that, you know, because let's be real.
yeah,
The Puerto Rican Day Parade, right? It was sort of created back in the late 50s in New York as a way to mobilize the Hispanic community and the Puerto Rican community in New York City. Since then, in Chicago, Florida, Connecticut, it sort of evolved into a cultural celebration,
yeah.
now compared to back in the 50s and 60s, where it was actually honestly mobilizing our community. So
Mm,
it's more of a stateside or mainland thing than it is in Puerto Rico. But again, if we're going to inject sort of right tourism and try to get us back, why not engage the parades and festivals on the mainland,
yes,
who thousands of people go every year, right? Over 1 million people go to the New York parade.
yes.
So why not, use these organizations as anchors to get our people back to Puerto Rico and to engage in giving back and showing some love.
No, listen, I love it. I love it. By the way, if you're just tuning in on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn, please make sure you share this. Please sure you hit that like button. I'm hanging out. I'm talking to Joe Rodriguez. We're talking about the Puerto Rican Festival in New Haven. We're talking about the National Puerto Rican Agenda. Just great things. If you're just tuning in now, once we get done, make sure you go back to the beginning and watch the whole thing. So much great information going on here. Um, Before I get to my final question or my final kind of group of questions, um, Joe, how can we help? How can we help with either the Puerto Rican Festival of New Haven and or the National Puerto Rican Agenda? What can we do? How can we help?
Well, the first thing is follow us on social media. So the
Of
Puerto
course.
Rican Festival of New Haven is at PRU hyphen Puerto Rican Festival, or at PRU Inc. You'll see the Connecticut flag
Yes.
um, with the Puerto Rican flag within it. That's our logo. That's the organization. PRUinc.org, PRUINC.org is our website.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to our website and learn about all our events, as well as, I believe, a link to our social media. And again, we're always looking for volunteers. We don't get paid to do this. I work full
Mm-hmm.
time. My board members work full time. This is love and passion beyond our work. So we're always looking for volunteers. And then the National Puerto Rican Agenda is PuertoRicanAgenda.org. PuertoRicanAgenda.org. You'll see a list of our national platform, what we are advocating for when it comes to the social and human rights of Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a list of events. So I encourage people to go there, and I also encourage people to visit one of our partners, the Hispanic Federation, which is the national organization, which has had their gala in New York not so long ago. The Hispanic Federation also has an amazing media toolkit on
Mm-hmm.
how you can advocate, literally from step 1 to step 10, on how you can advocate for Puerto Rico. So definitely visit those 3 platforms so that you are notified, you're engaged, and let's do this together. I'll say this because I say it to every single Boricua that I meet. It is up to us to tell our story. For all too long, other people in Washington or otherwise have been telling our story. And it's a false narrative on who we are as a people and the
Hmm.
struggles that we continue to see in Puerto Rico. It's time for us to tell our story, to tell our history from the Ponce massacre to now. It's up to us to educate our community on who we are, the struggles we've seen, the struggles we continue to see, and organize and mobilize so we can do something about it. So let's tell our story. Let's share who we are. Let's share our identity, and let's do something about it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube right now, all of this information that he just shared will be down in the description. So go down there, you'll find it. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're driving, if you're running on a treadmill, don't stop running, don't stop driving. Whenever you get to where you're going, go down to the description and all the information will be right there. If not, reach out to me personally and I'll give you the information. We must see what we can do, to help. And it's in our hands, right? Whether you have 3 hours a week or 5 minutes a week, whatever you have, anytime is valuable to us. And when I say us, I mean us, people who are involved in nonprofit organizations. Anytime is good. So please make sure you reach out. And if you're on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. Pretty soon, all of my podcasts will be moving strictly from YouTube. So make sure you subscribe over there and bring all this good love over there. Joe, I know we got to get out of here soon, but before we do, let's talk about your festival. You got a festival coming up. Obviously, it's a few months away, but talk to us a little bit about the festival. And obviously, I know you're not going to give us all the secrets. I know you're not going to share everything. I got it. I get it. But give us what you can give us and then tell us all about it because listen, your festival is amazing every year. This thing is packed. It's a good time. Last year, I saw it through Facebook. This year, I will be there in person.
Nice.
But tell us about the event and what to expect and why we should go.
Absolutely. So this is our 8th anniversary since we
Okay.
relaunched it. As I mentioned earlier, we have deep roots in our city with parades and festivals, but it's been 8 years since we relaunched the Puerto Rican Festival of New Haven, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. In 2016, we had about 5,000 people featuring Plena Libre. Last year, we had over 10,000 people featuring Johnny Rivera, Nino Cigarra,
Woo!
so, that just shows you from 2016 to now, right? And everything in between. But yeah, no, we continue to grow in part due to an amazing volunteer board of directors, due to amazing sponsors, due to amazing partners. I just see the corner of my eye, Millie Ramos with City Angels Baseball League out of New Haven. Amazing volunteers that help every year to grow this festival. What to expect? Saturday, August 10th, all day New Haven Green from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock at night. It's on the New Haven Green, which is downtown between Church, Elm, and Temple Street. It's funny because people are like, oh, yo, why don't you go to, Criscola Park, Chapel Park, and Fairhaven on the east side? And we're like, now we're taking it downtown. We're taking it downtown, knocking on Yale's door. We're going to be downtown in the New Haven Green, 20,000 plus. But yeah, we have over 6 bands or 7 bands this year. We had over 10 food trucks, expect over 10 food trucks, different art and cultural vendors. We have a health and wellness area. And then the one thing that we've been doing the last 2 years, because again, it's about giving back, right? Believe it or not, we try to incorporate a job fair into the festival. So anyone listening, you all know when you go to a festival, you see all the different booths, right? All the business booths sharing information about how to buy their product. We took it a step further. We said, okay, you can be here and sell your product, but are you looking for employees? So the last 2 years, we invited the Workforce Alliance downtown and a few other business folks. And we actually incorporated a job fair where we listed about 10 businesses or so that were actually hiring.
Okay.
And I've never heard that done before up until recently at a festival, but it was something that Tiana Ocasio, much love Tiana. Tiana's one of our board members. She had the idea, and I was like, you know what? That's an awesome idea. We're going to have a captive audience, right? I'm pretty sure there are folks within that audience that might be looking for a job. So why not incorporate it? So yeah, it's again, and we're gonna have merengue for Eddie.
Yes,
We're gonna have
merengue.
merengue for you, bro. I know
I'll tell you.
you ask for merengue, you get a merengue.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh man, no, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely will be there. What's the date again?
Saturday, August 10th. If you
Okay.
visit pruinc.org, not only will you see our flyer, but you will see the schedule of all the Puerto Rican parades and festivals across Connecticut. So that's one way to quickly just get a glance on where they're happening from New Britain. Our friends from New Britain are back this year. Shout out to New Britain, Puerto Rican Society. They relaunched their festival this
I
year.
saw that. Yep.
So they're back in the mix. Waterbury had their first festival last year.
I was there. It was
After
good. It was really
20, right
good.
after 20 years.
Hmm.
It's been 20 years since they had a festival. They relaunched it this year. They're kicking it up. They're elevating it. They're having a parade and a festival this year. Then you got, the Bridgeport Fairfield County parade. They're celebrating over 31 years, I think, this year.
Yep. 31 years.
And listen, before I forget, you and I can talk all night, I swear, but I gotta go
Yeah.
soon too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's important. Hartford Puerto Rican Day Parade, right? I consider them the madrina. They are the godmother of parades
Hmm.
in the state of Connecticut. They are celebrating 60 years, 60 years since that first parade in Hartford, Connecticut. 60 years ago, a group of fearless leaders,
Yes.
Boricuas, said, "We are here in Hartford. We might have not been born here. Some of us perhaps moved here, but we are here in the capital city." And they made noise and they organized the first parade 60 years ago in Hartford, Connecticut. So shout out to the city of Hartford, the state of Connecticut, for celebrating 60 years. And like I said, how fitting is it 60 years later to have parades and festivals in 7 cities in Connecticut?
No, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Congrats to them. Hopefully, I'll have them on here soon, and we'll talk about what they have going on over in Hartford. Great things happening. Joe, I know you got to go. I told you this before we got on, but I'm gonna tell you here live. Whatever you need, let me know. Give me a call, text me. Let me know how I can help for your festival. I'm gonna be there this year for sure. For sure. You said merengue. My wife is watching. We'll be there. Yo sin salsero, but I love me some merengue too, so I'll be there. Again, anything I can do to help, you let me know. Anything else you want to share before we get out of here?
No, listen, shout out to you and everybody in podcast media. You give us an opportunity to share our story. So much respect to you and all our friends in media for giving us this platform, this opportunity to share who we are. How fitting is it that one Latino to another, we're here being able to host it, talk about it, have a guest that are Latino. So much love to you. Keep doing what you're doing. And again, anytime you need me, please know I'll be there.
No, for sure. Hey, listen, I'm gonna drop you down. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna end the show, and so just give me like 1 minute, okay?
Dale, dale. Thank
Joe, thank you so much, brother.
you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate your support on this show. Again, this is all about uplifting people who are doing amazing things, and Joe has been doing amazing things for way too long, and so we have to talk to him. Again, make sure you go down to the description, check out what's going on. Make sure you follow him, follow the organization. Find out ways that you can help, and if you don't have time to help, at least go out there in August. I think August 10th. He said, go out there and have a good time. I'll be out there. We'll be out there, and it'll be a good time. I'm gonna jump out of here. Thank you again for your support. If you just got here, make sure you go back to the beginning and watch it. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like this content. Guys, thank you so much, and please don't forget, be transcendent.